What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Movie Boy Mike, and this is The Long Walk, Ending Explained. I hope you guys enjoyed the movie as much as I did. This is one of the best Stephen King adaptations I've seen in a hot minute. If you stick around till the end of this video, I'm going to be comparing the book to the movie and explaining the ending. But before we get into all of that, please be sure to smash that like and subscribe button. It really goes all the distance, especially on The Long Walk. Now let's get right into it.
All for one! And one for all!
So The Long Walk by Stephen King was published originally in 1979. This was one of Stephen King's first books he ever wrote. Not one of his first books that he published, but one of his first books that he ever wrote as a draft. And after Stephen King got success publishing Carrie, Salem's Lot, that's when The Long Walk was published. And there are some heavy differences between the book and the movie. Biggest one being in the book, the contestants have to run 4 miles per hour, not 3. This change was made by Stephen King himself because 3 miles is actually more realistic for the human body. In addition to that, in the book, Ray Garrity is 16 years old. In the movie, he looks like he's almost 20. I can understand a little bit of a different age in the cast, but in the book, let's be very clear, Ray Garrity is 16. In the book, there's 2 contestants from each state, making the total number of players 100, not 50. And I can understand in the movie they wanted to have a little bit more screen time for certain characters and to have more character development, so that's why they cut the amount of players in half, going from 100 to 50. They never say what state they're running in the movie, but in the book, the contestants are walking around the state of Maine. There's some Easter eggs we can spot as the contestants are going on this long walk. For example, in the very beginning of the movie, they walk past a farm with a dead crow across the fence. I think if I didn't know any better, that was a reference to Randall Flagg, aka the Man in Black, the main villain from The Stand and The Dark Tower. I think that crow is a little bit of a reference towards him. Not to mention they walk past a cat and a dead bull on the side of the road. That could be a little bit of a reference to the Pet Sematary, if I didn't know any better. This was an amazing book to adapt into a movie. Mark Hamill did an amazing job playing the Major. I really think the casting choice for the Major could not have been any better than Mark Hamill. I personally thought all of the shit scenes were really gross. I wish they didn't add that part in the movie. A little bit too much information, but I will admit it is pretty realistic when you consider the fact that these teenagers are walking through the state of Maine through the course of a few days. It makes a lot of sense, but my God, it was disgusting. So in the movie, we watch as Peter, Ray Garrity, the main character, and Stebbins, the Major's bastard son, make it to the final 3. Just like in the movie, we find out towards the end of the book that Stebbins is the Major's bastard son, and we find out his motivation for doing the long walk is so he can win the respect of his father that he never had, which is a pretty notable way to get it. A cruel way, but notable way. Now, the biggest plot twist towards the end of the movie was that Peter McFreeze won, not Ray Garrity. So at the end of the movie, Peter's about to give up until Garrity convinces him to move on, and then, as the audience were shocked, as Ray Garrity sits down and gives up the victory of the long walk, Peter is then left as the winner and decides to fulfill Garrity's dying wish. And as Ray Garrity was planning to do, Peter asks for the rifle from the Major and uses it to end the Major's life and shoots him in front of everybody on national television. And the movie ends with Peter walking across the road as he always had through the course of his life. And it makes sense that Ray Garrity, Peter, and the others survived as long as they did on this long walk. When you actually break down the psychology of it, a lot of studies have shown that if somebody's hanging on the edge of a cliff, they're really likely to fall within the first minute. But if you have somebody on the edge of the cliff with you, talking to you, convincing you to hold on, they found that a human being can hold on for as long as 10 minutes if somebody's there talking to them while they're hanging on the edge of that cliff. It's the same thing with the long walk. The fact that these kids were there to motivate each other through the difficult circumstances that they faced on their journey, it makes a lot of sense that they were there to motivate each other through the difficult times, and makes sense why Ray Garrity and Pete were ultimately the final 2 in the competition.
They say you shouldn't make friends on the long walk, but I sort of like you 3.
Even though they tell you not to make friends on the long walk, that's actually the perfect way to survive. And of course the government would not want you to know that in this dystopian novel. And what good is a government if they're not pinning the citizens against one another? That's the entire purpose of the Long Walk, to divide society by rewarding one person the financial stability they need to survive a lifetime. So it makes a lot of sense when you break down the psychology of it. The biggest difference between the book and the movie was the ending. In the book, Ray Garrity was the winner. In the book, Peter ends up not making it and falls behind, leaving the final two in the contest to be Ray Garrity and the Major's bastard son, Stebbins. As the two are walking, barely conscious, Stebbins falls behind and gets shot, as the rules are in the contest. Ray Garrity is then crowned the winner as he's moving in and out of consciousness. But in the book, Garrity is way too tired to take out the Major after he gets his victory. So the book ends with Ray Garrity consistently walking as he moves in and out of consciousness, barely acknowledging that he had won. I think the movie was phenomenal, and I really loved the plot twist. It was one of the best Stephen King adaptations I've seen in a really long time, and that's coming from someone who is an extra in Salem's Lot. On that same note, I'm curious what you guys think. What do you guys think about these differences between the book and the movie? And what did you guys overall think of the movie? Let me know in the comments section. Also, thank you guys so much for watching this video. It's always a pleasure. If you guys like what you see, hit that like and subscribe button for more. It really goes all the distance, especially in the Long Walk. I'll catch you next time.
Was that movie